Imperialism in Cuba, the 10 Years' War, the Spanish-American War, and the final anti-imperialism revolution. By Brenton, Cody, Victor, and Josie.
First, a bit of the background. Cubans have been wanting independence from Spain since 1868. Both the United States and Spain have wanted ownership of Cuba for the country's abundance of natural resources. They're mainly sugar and tobacco.
Before the Spanish-American War, Cuba and Spain fought the 10-Year War, and Spain emerged victorious, and several thousand Cubans were put into prison camps. The United States wrote many articles about Cuba's fight for independence, for the empathy with the Cubans. One notable leader of the first Cuban rebellion, Jose Marti, said,
And let us never forget that the greater the suffering, the greater right to justice, and that the prejudices of men and social inequalities cannot prevail over the equality which nature has created.
Justice.
Not only did the Cubans want for independence to start this war, but the final straw, it seemed, was the destruction of United States ship, the Maine, by what was assumed to be a Spanish mine. The Maine was destroyed on February 15, 1898.
Other factors that caused the war included what Cuba, the U.S., and Spain wanted. Cuba wanted independence, the U.S. wanted to expand overseas for resources, military bases, and businesses. Spain only had a few colonies left in America in the Americas, and wanted to retain Cuba so they could continue bringing in profit from Cuba's sugar and tobacco. The U.S. was very interested in Cuban land, and 60% of Cuba's rural land was owned by Americans in 1905.
The United States and Cuba won the war, but the U.S. forced the Cubans to put the Platt Amendment into their constitution. The amendment gave the U.S. a military base in Guantanamo, so Cuba was free, but not really. Furthermore, by 1924, Cuba's most important industry was owned by Americans. However, it bears saying that the European imperialism brought about useful changes to the economy and provided global connections for trade and information. European imperialism affected the lives of many people, and more often than not, it was an extremely negative way. Many Cubans died from the harsh treatment of the prison camps, and the Spanish-American War was simply a switching of masters.
But as the saying goes, pride goes before a fall. By the 1950s, Cuba was done with American involvement, and so the revolution, Cubans for the Cubans, was formed, and the most famous anti-imperialism revolution happened just outside of the U.S. Parts of the economic embargo on Cuba have been lifted, but it is not total freedom. But for once, Cuba are beginning to make their own decisions.
Our sources include the World History textbook, the Imperialism Placket and Notes, history.com, infoplease.com, spanumwar.com, and pbs.org. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.
Shout.
P.S. Sorry for the handwriting.
Europe.